Thank you for joining us. The following webinar was produced by staff of the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development. DHCD is committed to creating safe, affordable, and prosperous communities to live, work, and do business in Virginia.
The following content will focus on the design point of the Main Street approach for preservation-based economic development and community revitalization.
But before I dive into the focus, here is some food for thought. What makes residents love where they live? What draws people to a place and keeps them there? In today's economic climate, community leaders are seeking new ways to attract and retain people, develop prosperous economies, and create jobs. In a partnership with the Knight Foundation, Gallup gathered insights from nearly 43,000 individuals to determine factors that attach residents to their communities and the role of community attachment in an area's economic growth and well-being. The Knight Soul of the Community study provides evidence that the drivers that create emotional bonds between people and their community are consistent in virtually every town. People consistently give higher ratings for elements that relate directly to their daily quality of life, an area's physical beauty, opportunities for socializing, and a community's openness to all people. Remarkably, the study also shows that the communities with the highest levels of attachment had the highest rates of GDP growth, a comprehensive scorecard of a locality's economic health. There is strong evidence and a clear return for community leaders to invest in these community-based revitalization initiatives. Rising to the challenge, the Main Street approach provides the framework to harness local assets and create a better quality of life for all. So what is this Main Street all about? Main Street America is a program of the National Main Street Center, a subsidiary of the National Trust for Historic Preservation. It is also the name of the national network of coordinating programs, Main Street communities and districts, and affiliates. As a Main Street America coordinating program, Virginia Main Street helps to lead a powerful grassroots network consisting of over 40 coordinating programs and over 2,000 neighborhoods and communities across the country committed to creating high-quality places and to building stronger communities through preservation-based economic development. Virginia Main Street offers a range of services and assistance to communities interested in revitalizing their historic commercial districts. So altogether, Main Street empowers communities to set their own destinies and offers a roadmap for locally owned, locally driven prosperity. The Main Street approach offers community-based revitalization initiatives with a practical, adaptable framework for downtown transformation that is easily tailored to local conditions. It is most effective in places where community residents have a strong emotional, social, and civic connection and are motivated to get involved and make a difference. The Main Street approach begins with creating a vision for success on Main Street, a community-driven process that brings diverse stakeholders from all sectors together to be proactive participants in the revitalization process. It is also based on a solid analysis and understanding of the district's market and best economic opportunities. From these activities, transformation strategies are then generated to help guide a revitalization program's work around a particular customer segment or underserved market. These strategies are implemented through a broad range of activities that span the four broad areas of work: economic vitality, design, promotion, and organization, and are measurable, making it possible to track progress. Transformation strategies are implemented through comprehensive work in those four broad areas known as the 4 points. Economic vitality focuses on capital, incentives, and other economic and financial tools to assist new and existing businesses, catalyze property investment, and create a supportive environment for entrepreneurs and innovators that drive local economies. Design supports a community's transformation by enhancing the physical and visual assets that set the commercial district apart. Promotion positions the downtown or community district as the center of the community and hub of economic activity, while creating a positive image that showcases a community's unique characteristics. And organization involves creating a strong foundation for a sustainable revitalization effort, including cultivating partnerships, community involvement, and resources for the district. Why is the design point important in the framework? Well, to improve economic performance of the district by making building improvements to give the community a sense of rootedness in place, planning for public improvements that create vibrant, people-centered places, and guiding Main Street's development to celebrate historic character and foster advocacy. More simply, design focuses on improving the appearance of the commercial district through historic preservation-based, sustainable strategies, including building improvements of older and historic structures, public improvements that facilitate the flow of people and creation of spaces that serve as gathering spots, protection and management of these assets so they continue to play a vibrant role at the heart of the community. And those areas are bound together relationally through design education to grow appreciation among Main Street's stakeholders. Who are the players that power quality design? Whether design is a committee, project task force, or a category on a work plan, a well-honed brain trust of expertise is needed to inform those areas of focus. Those team members could include architects, architectural historians, real estate agents, interior designers, contractors, graphic designers and artists, downtown property owners, municipal leaders like public works, planners, utilities and commissions, and any others. Good commercial district planning, the type that generates community transformation, requires leaders to be intentional in how they approach design issues, including short and long-term physical improvements, preservation of older buildings, mixed-use infill development, and effective zoning codes. When planning public improvements, there are several elements to consider. First, your inventory. Note the conditions, types of uses, both economic and social impact, and review public planning documents and any previous work. Design considerations. Make sure design, size, and scope of projects are compatible with existing elements and follow any local design guidelines. Funding and resources for recommendations. Public could include tax levy dollars, community improvement districts, or federal and state grants. Private funding could include foundations, donations, crowdfunding, and in-kind donations. Public engagement is essential for buy-in and consensus. Some methods include a vision meeting to determine public preferences, or public voting to determine preference for a mural image or banners, any design project. For collaboration, what are the opportunities for partnerships? Support of municipal staff is fundamental. Main Street can work as a liaison among construction companies, utilities, residents, and business owners for timely communication and building trust. Then consider future programming. Make sure people are using the improvements. That may include public games, live performances, or food trucks, to name a few. And the unsung hero of successful public improvement projects is maintenance. correct problems with existing infrastructure first, and include a maintenance plan that outlines responsible parties and timelines. Planning public improvements requires getting acquainted with your downtown first. A building inventory form will help with gathering data on building conditions, ownership, and occupancy. Consider who's likely to invest in their building, who owns it. Somebody who owns a business. Identify those key players. Organize a walkabout with your team leaders to explore and identify opportunities for development. Know whether your buildings are listed on the historic registers, both the National and Virginia Landmark Registers. The National Park Service and Virginia Department of Historic Resources are stewards of those and have the listings on their websites. Understand what's contributing and what's not. Develop an inventory of images that connect to the building inventory, both a collection of historic and recent photos. Organize what is collected for easy access, like using a Google Drive or Dropbox, those shared files that are made accessible to the staff, board, and committees. Or subscribe to a cloud-based management system like Maestro Community Manager, with ready-made forms and data storage designed specifically for Main Street organizations. Sources for historic photos include the online catalogs of the Virginia Department of Historic Resources and the Library of Virginia. Historic books are great resources too, like the Image of America series or your local historic societies and libraries. Your inventory of images can also be used for marketing purposes and telling your downtown story through social media campaigns or showing them in an exhibition. We can't all be architectural historians. However, no matter your expertise, you can get acquainted with historic architecture to understand the roots of your Main Street. The older Keeping Up Appearances publication from the National Trust for Historic Preservation and early phase of the National Main Street Center is a keeper and can be found online through a simple search. This guide explains the anatomy of a historic commercial building and common architectural elements helpful for identification of styles and estimated age of structures. Storefronts change like fashion, but the upper stories generally stay the same. The basic commercial facade consists of 3 parts: the storefront with an entrance and display windows, the upper facade, usually with regularly spaced windows, and the cornice that caps the building. These components appear in many shapes, sizes, and styles across decades of architectural styles. There's no two alike. Case in point, understand the variety of architectural styles. The appearance of your downtown is the result of an evolutionary process in which buildings either stay the same, are altered, or are completely replaced. Many of your buildings started out as a traditional style, such as Italianate, Art Nouveau, or Neoclassical Revival, all common styles in Virginia, but they evolved as taste changed to mimic modern styles. Main Street commercial buildings are rarely a good example of a particular style, in the purest sense. They are more a reflection of the times, the materials being used, and the builder. Publications like Keeping Up Appearances can help you understand those changes over time. Take a look at the typical storefronts and upper facades, both organized by period of construction. This is a good summary of exactly what we see in downtown commercial buildings. Every community has its special character. Sometimes those evolutionary changes obscured architectural treasures beneath. Take a notice of the historic character by carefully peeling back materials and exposing the original character. By pulling apart, you can see there is something underneath. Pictured here is the People's Bank of Buena Vista, a 2-story brick commercial building that was constructed in 1907. The building facade was altered and then completely covered up in the 1970s. Seasoned Virginia Main Street partner Fraser Associates was retained by Community Bank to rehabilitate the vacant building into a 21st century bank and restore the facade to its original appearance, a look that is more in keeping with the character of the commercial district. Understand the variety of building types. There are many types of buildings in your downtown designed for specific uses, such as hotels for visitors, like the historic Gin Hotel in Lexington, train depots for commercial travel, like the Orange train station, industrial for manufacturing, such as South Boston's Tobacco Prizery, and government buildings for civic operations, such as the Rockingham County Courthouse in Harrisonburg. That architectural variety comes in all shapes and sizes, too. On Main Street, we are not always dealing with the large downtown buildings, like Lynchburg's Allied Arts Building, now the Virginian Hotel. Small buildings are just as important, too. They are opportunities for micro-retail and nurturing loyal customer relationships. With a property owner's cooperation, the smallest buildings are a great place to start downtown improvements for a visible program success story, working to accumulate the wins efficiently and work up to the big stuff. Signs and awnings contribute to an image of the buildings, businesses, and the districts as a whole. Awnings provide cover, add color, and serve as transition between the storefront and the upper facade. Signs must reflect the character of the business they represent, fit in with the buildings to which they are attached, and be compatible in scale, quality, and design with the other district signs. Projecting signs, like what's pictured here, appeal to the pedestrian, signaling activity within the building and encouraging customers to explore from block to block. Look at what your zoning says, what is appropriate in context, and what the businesses are able to do. Consider sign guidelines to promote or an ordinance to regulate appropriate size, location, height, width, quantity, and type allowed. Alleys and rear entrances are important too. They are opportunities to provide a corridor between places of interest, an alternative entrance during streetscape construction projects, or to provide on-site parking for tenants and customers. Consider painting walls, adding lighting, or installing attractive enclosures to conceal dumpsters and meters. Being well-versed in your downtown architectural assets earns your program an opportunity to be local design advocates and influence appropriate design choices that foster a positive image and commerce. So, assist with hands-on projects by organizing volunteers or providing design services. You can locate contractors, suppliers, and craftsmen and maintain a listing for your businesses and property owners. Or assist with applications and proposals for improvement funding incentives, like a revolving loan fund or grant program. Downtown Blackstone Inc. manages a revolving loan fund for building improvement, and the design committee provides review and feedback. Your downtown was primarily designed around pedestrians, so it is human scale and walkable. Build from your downtown's existing strengths and continue that pattern. This factor is one of the assets to embrace for economic development. People-centered design ensures that the physical elements of a place reflect the needs and desires of the community. It takes into account how people experience a place and shapes the design around answers to these questions. How do people access places? How do individuals get around? Is downtown accessible? Who feels welcome? Placemaking is a buzzword nowadays, but there's a reason. It references strengthening the connection between people and the places they share. Placemaking generally refers to a process of planning and designing public spaces to contribute to a community's health, happiness, and well-being, with community-based participation at its center. Project for Public Spaces is a helpful resource for understanding and exploring the opportunities. What makes a great place? They are accessible and well connected to other places in the area. They are comfortable and project a good image. They attract people to participate in activities there. And they are social environments in which people want to gather and visit again and again. The impacts from great placemaking include positive marketing, increased pedestrian activity, small business growth, attracting new neighbors and residents, and building community ownership and pride. In good placemaking, there are a number of little things that make it easier to linger longer, which will increase pedestrian activity and, consequently, spending. These comfort amenities include trash cans, flowers, bike racks, benches, lamp posts, trees and shade, water features, and in the 21st century, charging stations and public Wi-Fi have expanded the mix. Many Main Street programs can identify with and bond over the perils of vacant buildings. They are a symbol of lost revenue and an underperforming economy. But better yet, they are opportunities for improvement projects. What can you do with your vacant buildings? Having a cooperative relationship with the owner is key before tackling any improvements. You can assist with resources for repairs, which improves image. Add color with a fresh coat of paint, fuels vibrancy. And you can utilize empty windows to add color and generate interest about what kind of business tenant would be ideal. The Luray Downtown Initiative assisted an owner to explore the highest and best use of a long-term vacant property through a Virginia Main Street financial feasibility grant, and assisted with painting and replacing torn awnings to attract a buyer or a tenant. These enhancements create an experience within the public spaces, keeping people moving and engaged. Start small to accumulate the wins, and then build up to larger scale projects that may be district-wide. Embrace your assets and tie into your local identity, culture, and history. For these alley improvements, Ripley Main Street in Mississippi took a scary alley and employed the best of placemaking techniques to create a safe passageway and a place to linger. Utility boxes are common in downtown and often unsightly, so dress them up with color and character, like College Park Main Street in Florida. Streetlight banners add color and excitement, creating character and sometimes wayfinding. The Hopewell Downtown Partnership shows off their vivid branding, and the Valentines expressed love for the local businesses during the pandemic. To generate a vibrant public space, a strategic plan to successfully program or activate the space needs to be considered. This can be done through physical interventions such as public murals, like Hopewell's recently completed large-scale piece intended to increase arts and culture in downtown, or Danville's JTI fountain. Water features can bring an air of nature to your downtown hardscapes. And the tables and umbrellas in Fredericksburg's Market Square provide shade, comfort, and a place to dine. Whatever you do, consider the long view and how the enhancement complements your downtown architecturally. A wayfinding signage system is an effective tool to lead people to the district and its various attractions, as well as to local trails and bikeways. Unlike street signs on roads and highways, wayfinding systems are designed to convey a sense of place, that reflects a community's character. Coordinating wayfind signs with banners and other design elements unifies the appearance of the entire district and creates an overall positive first impression. Support that positivity by aligning your town branding from its website to on-site. Creates a seamless image. Parking is often a primary concern for Main Street leaders, as it impacts how easily it is for community members and visitors to come and stay in downtown. Main Street organizations plays an important role in advocating for the parking system that best supports the Main Street district. Whether local or out of town, visitors need to know where to park in the district. Is it well marked as to where they can park and how long? Your Main Street organization has an opportunity to weigh in on maximizing the efficiency of parking systems and improved customer convenience. Numerous studies have shown that downtowns need far fewer spots than other commercial areas, such as malls and commercial strips. A parking study can help you understand the realities of local perceptions and how to best solve an actual parking problem. Parking studies can be informed and abbreviated or longer term and more involved. Either your organization or your municipality, or both together, can lead the study. The Main Street Approach Design Point is also responsible for fostering advocacy for the built environment. As the approach is asset-based economic development, consider that one of the most important assets are the buildings. They represent decades of community stories and investment, so their historic materials, character, and use have value to build upon for the community's future. Having a historic preservation ethic is key. So what is preservation? There are misconceptions, and a lot of people connect preservation only with the National Register and the perception of complex rules, regulations, and restrictions, that red tape. The National Park Service at the federal level says, historic preservation is a conversation with our past about our future. It provides us with opportunities to ask, what is important in our history? And what parts of our past can we preserve for the future? Through historic preservation, we look at history in different ways, ask different questions of the past, and learn new things about our history and ourselves. Historic preservation is an important way for us to transmit our understanding of the past to future generations. Getting to a driving purpose behind preservation by asking why may get to the heart of the inquiry. Why preserve? A friend once said that the words historic preservation sounds like you're putting something in a tomb, sealing it away. But actually, you're keeping something alive. Former president and CEO of the National Trust for Historic Preservation put it this way: preservation is not just about keeping old buildings around. It is about keeping them alive, in active use, and relevant to the needs of the families and the cities that surround them. We do not honor the historic buildings in our midst, nor those who once inhabited them, by trapping these structures in amber or sequestering them away behind velvet ropes. We do it by working to see that they continue to play a vibrant role at the heart of the community. A vibrant role, an asset that is embraced to strengthen downtown's position as the center of activity. Now that we have the why behind preservation, let's talk about the how to advocate and celebrate. Planning and management are economic development tools that give communities the confidence and security to move into the future. In shaping tomorrow's Main Street community, the municipality will play a major role here in the form of developing master plans and regulations for the district. Your Main Street organization should be an active partner in planning long-term physical improvements, while reviewing and offering recommendations for the revision of city codes and ordinances. Be aware of the ways to capitalize on preservation. Know what protections exist and what is compatible. Preservation planning guides future real estate development around new uses and treatments that align with the local vision and market opportunities, in addition to targeting public improvements such as new sidewalks, lighting, and benches. Local zoning and ordinances are regulations for construction, property use, and appearance of the district, providing the legal guardrails. Note that some old zoning ordinances are not compatible for appropriate development of existing historic patterns and may prevent current development. Knowing and advocating for best practices is key. Local design guidelines provide the basis for making fair decisions. They can be used in a regulatory capacity with an ordinance, the stick, or as an incentive to access design or financial assistance, the carrot. More on that shortly. There are 3 tiers of incentives or regulations designed to recognize Virginia's historic resources and to encourage their continued preservation: the National Register of Historic Places, the Virginia Landmarks Register, and Local Historic District Designation. The National Register is the official list of structures, sites, objects, and districts of local, state, and national significance. It is managed by the Department of Historic Resources in partnership with the National Park Service for properties in Virginia. It is an honorary designation, so only incentive in the form of historic rehabilitation tax credits. The Virginia Landmarks Register is Virginia's official list of places of historic, architectural, archaeological, and cultural significance, and is managed by the staff of the Department of Historic Resources. Like the National Register, the Landmarks Register is an honorary designation for education and incentives in the form of the state historic rehabilitation tax credit. The Code of Virginia also enables a locality to adopt an ordinance protecting local historic resources and provide an architectural review board guided by local design guidelines and a certification process. Local historic designation ordinances provide the most protection and regulate what can be done to historic buildings, including demolition. While local designation is regulatory, it may also include incentives such as tax abatements, building improvements grants, and plaque programs. Creating incentives helps to promote and stimulate ideal real estate development and is a great opportunity to partner with the expertise of your Economic Vitality Committee. Incentives can be created as a carrot or a stick. What you choose depends on local stakeholder interests and palatability of one or the other. A carrot approach could be the Main Street organization offering design support or financial incentives to motivate appropriate development. This can include free architectural services or a grant, something of value, a hook, to encourage compatible design. A stick approach is regulatory and could include local ordinances, land use zoning, and comprehensive planning to guide development toward the ideal. This can include specific signage and building improvement guidelines that are enforced through architectural review and a certification of appropriateness. Know that design guidelines do not have to be regulatory in nature, but instead can be connected to that financial incentive, such as grants, loans, or tax breaks. These local financial incentive programs help offset the additional costs of proper rehabilitation, so act as the carrot. A grant program could be a dollar-for-dollar matching grant for improvements such as facade renovations, signs, and awnings. These funds can come from various fundraising efforts, community development block grant funds, or private donations. A revolving loan fund is a gap financing measure for building improvements. The fund gets its name from the revolving aspect of loan repayments, in which the central fund is replenished as individuals pay back their loans, creating the opportunity to issue other loans to new projects. And a tax abatement program offers taxpayers a real estate opportunity to not pay full taxes on the full value of the improvements for a number of years. This type of incentive encourages significant improvements to older existing structures. Effective partnerships leverage the strengths of each partner and apply it strategically to the issues at hand. It might take longer and be more work, but strong partnerships build the relationships, shared understanding, and a collective focus to make lasting progress. Your local partners in preservation include your local governments, both the municipality and county, other economic development groups such as regional economic development organizations, a historical society, arts groups, design professionals such as architects and interior designers, the construction trades, financial institutions, real estate professionals, and those groups whose mission is a sustainable future. Also be aware of statewide and national partners and their resources. In the Main Street world, those include the National Trust for Historic Preservation and its subsidiary, the National Main Street Center, and their Main Street America program, focused on being that roadmap for locally powered community transformation. There's also the National Park Service, where you'll find practical guidance for historical resource management. Preservation Virginia is our statewide historic preservation nonprofit focused on leadership in advocacy, education, and stewardship. And lastly but not least, the Virginia Department of Historic Resources, our state historic preservation office. These partners will help provide the support and resources for design, education, and awareness. You have to teach people about downtown for them to be able to understand and care about local efforts. There are multiple creative ways to do this, and the national network and statewide Main Street networks can help you source those ideas. Education can take many forms, such as workshops and seminars, guided tours, contests, and local awards to encourage and recognize good design and community efforts. The publication of articles, press releases, and newsletters to get out the good word. Gallery photo displays and exhibitions, and local signs, plaques, and public installations. As a kickoff to their 20-year anniversary, the Stanton Downtown Development Association hosted Stanton Stories, a one-day event to celebrate and document the people that make downtown Stanton a dynamic and diverse community. During the event, local residents and business owners were invited to bring up to 3 original photos or handheld items that tell the story of their connection to Stanton. This is a great way to uplift and connect the past, bring it into the present, and pass forward to the future. Building tours can be both educational and promotional events, providing a behind-the-scenes look at buildings that are not typically open to the public. Danville's Districts app helps find restaurants, retail, and experiences. So far, the experiences include self-guided downtown arts and sculpture tour, downtown revitalization tour, and the civil rights and Union Bottom tour. The latter celebrates the entrepreneurial spirit and contributions to the civil rights movement of Danville's historical African American business district. Main Street Lexington hosted Upstairs and Underground, a walking tour to highlight downtown living and working spaces. The tour also acted as a fundraiser for Main Street Lexington by offering food, refreshments, and music under their Nelson Street Bridge. Downtown Wytheville led a promotional event, Hard Hat Friday, to attract folks downtown during construction to shop and experience the progress. This kind of event is a partnership between the design and promotions committees. The key in all of these activities is that the Main Street organization provided an experience that connected wholeheartedly to attendees. The outcome is education and awareness. As a recap, here are some key steps to consider about Main Street design responsibilities. 1. Start small. Early in the revitalization process, begin with small-scale physical improvements, such as inexpensive planters, banners, paint schemes, and signs. 2. Embrace your downtown assets. Main Street advocates preserving those architectural elements that help tell the community's story. 3. Create compatibility. Build on existing physical assets. Do not imitate historic styles, but consider complementary changes that respect existing materials, scale, proportions, patterns of windows or storefronts, detailing, and colors. Stress continuity. A key to an attractive pedestrian atmosphere is the street wall, created by continuous facades of lively storefronts. And 5, finally, be realistic. Effective design must be accompanied by sensible business development, aggressive marketing, and a permanent management of the district by a strong, broad-based organization. If you are interested in learning more, many resources can be found through Main Street America's Main Street Resource Center, including guides, pre-recorded webinars, and The Point, which is a professional networking platform. The Virginia Main Street's blog, which highlights best practices, funding and training opportunities, as well as a clearinghouse of pre-recorded webinars and training handouts. And the Center for Nonprofit Excellence, a champion, learning partner, and advisor to Virginia nonprofits. Please reach out to the Virginia Main Street staff. We are here to help. Thank you for your interest in Main Street.